We'd like to welcome everyone out to our Bountiful City Council meeting tonight, Tuesday, December 12th. Sorry that we are starting late. We would like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance that will be offered by Tommy and Jake Barr.
May the audience please rise. Please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Thank you so much for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Tommy and Jake. We are now pleased to have our opening prayer given by Holly Ruhr, a representative from the Stone Creek Stake.
Our Father in heaven, we thank thee for the many blessings thou hast poured out upon us this day. We thank thee for peace in our land and prosperity in our city. We thank thee that thou hast granted us the freedoms to gather and build a better community. We are grateful that thou hast blessed us with those who are willing to give their time to work and serve here. We ask that thou will bless us this night, that we may feel thy light, that we may clearly see all the issues that come before this council, and that each one of us may be filled with inspiration to do good and to be good. And we offer these thanks unto thee and ask thy blessing upon us in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Mayor, could I jump in real quick?
Please.
Mrs. Ruhr, is Emily your daughter?
She is.
What a credit to you she is.
Oh, how do you know my Emily?
She worked for us at Pizza Pie.
Oh, she loved pizza pie.
Honestly, one of the most remarkable young ladies we ever had work for us.
Thank
A
you.
credit to you.
She's married, living at BYU, Idaho. And
Beautiful.
doing physical therapy.
Well, we love her.
Oh, thank you. I will
Here,
pass
thanks.
along the message.
Thank you. Yes, please do.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help tonight. Thanks for offering that prayer for us. We will now move to the public comment period of our meeting, and we'd love to hear from anyone who would like to speak. 2 minutes, and please state your name and address. Seeing no one to speak in our public comment period, we'll move to consider approval of the minutes of previous meetings held November 14th and 28th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. Do we have a youth council report tonight? Oh, excellent.
Hello, my name is Athena Thongoravai. I am tonight's representative of Bountiful City Youth Council. I'm currently the BCYC City Manager. So for the month of December, our last activity involved all of the Bountiful City Youth Council members creating Christmas cards for our Bountiful Police Department. As we gave those, we had the mayor with us, and we had a tour given by our chief of the police department. For our next activity, we are planning on doing a white elephant with our members. That's all I have.
Thank you so much for being here to report. And our police chief in the back, I bet they enjoyed those cards from the youth council. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you.
Thank you. Okay, we will now move to council reports, and we'll start with Councilman Higginson.
Nothing this evening, Mayor, except that I want to express ahead of time my appreciation for all the work that the council members do on behalf of the city. It's been a heavy few weeks for some of our members, and I just appreciate the hard work that goes in by so many. So thank you all.
Thank you. Councilwoman Segura Barr.
Nothing this evening, but I second my colleague's remarks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Price Hewish.
Just a little quick reminder that the Winterfest Art Market is continuing at the Bountiful Davis Art Center on Main Street. And I would encourage you, if you need some gift ideas, or just if you want to see some really wonderful handiwork and creativity and handicrafts, it's a wonderful place to go. And that will be continuing through December 23rd.
Thank you. Councilman Bell.
Nothing to report tonight.
Councilwoman Bradshaw.
I do have a report. It's my usual report about the budget of the South Davis Recreation District. In a rather lengthy meeting last night, the Rec District adopted a budget. They're on a different budget cycle than we are, so the budget was required to be adopted by the end of the month, so it can start the calendar year. There's been a lot of back and forth and work about the Rec District budget and an accompanying property tax increase. The budget that was approved includes a 77.5% property tax increase that is equal to $775,000 that is intended to raise. The budget did include some additional fee increases and some budget cuts. You've all heard me opine in prior meetings that I think it's important for that budget to bend the cost curve of its ballooning costs, and that a balanced approach was needed. We've spent, as a board and as the 5 city members in particular, spent a lot of time trying to find ways to use the various levers between fee increases, budget cuts, and property tax subsidies thoughtfully and prudently, so that we're reaping the wellness and well-being benefits that the Rec District provides, but also helping realign some of those budget issues. So I think it's important that we were able to reduce that initial proposal from 140 to 77.5. 77.5 was, quite frankly, higher than I felt appropriate. And so I recorded one of the 2 no votes on that budget proposal, but it did pass and will move forward. I think one thing I'm pleased about is that because of those discussions, we were able to bring in that property tax rate lower than others on the board wanted and had initially proposed. So that's my update on the budget.
Thank you very much for your work on that. We really appreciate it, and for keeping us in the loop. So it's been a lot of work for you, and thank you. We will now consider approval of expenditures greater than $1,000 paid November 22nd and 29th.
Mayor, move to approve those, as well as isn't there a financial report?
You're
here
right,
as well?
October 2023.
Yeah,
fine.
and the October report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. And now we get to do something fun. We want to recognize Councilwoman Millie Segura Barr, and I just, so on a personal note, I just want to speak about her for a minute, and I encouraged her to run when she first ran, and there are some things that she has been an advocate, passionate about. I think that when she makes decisions, she has a very thoughtful approach. She thinks about how things will impact neighborhoods. I think about the short-term rental discussion where she talked about how are we impacting the people who came and what they thought they were, the neighborhood they thought they were buying into. And also I remember her wanting to not have Zoom meetings options, because she really felt that in-person meetings are best, which we all agree is true. I feel like she's not overly long-winded, she's efficient, and so when she does speak up, it's something important because she doesn't really speak a lot. And I just really have a lot of respect for her. And the reason why she did not seek re-election was because of the demands that from her family, and so she wanted to be there for her family, and I really, really respect that. And so it's been 4 years, she has been here, and she has been, a servant of the public, and we really appreciate her work and all that she's done, and we'd like to present her with this plaque. We also have some flowers for her. And we'd like to give these chocolates for her for Christian. This is for her. For Christian, for being so supportive, because we know there were many nights when she was here and he was home with the kids. And so we'd like to thank Millie. We'd like to thank Councilwoman Segura Bar for her service. So will you join with me, please, in a round of applause? We are really going to miss you, and I'm sure that council members, if you'd like to add anything, please, I'd love to hear from you.
I'm jumping in because I just want to say, Millie, Council Member Segura Bar, Millie has been a real model of just the absolute best way to fill this role. She's thoughtful, prepared, always considering how every decision we make impacts people on the personal level, the resident level. How is this going to impact people, kind of where the rubber hits the road? She is genuine, generous, considerate, kind, professional in every aspect, and I would like nothing more than to continue to look at her as a lodestar of how to perform this job with class, dignity, and respect. And I just want to say I love you and I will miss you.
One of the things I have really appreciated, I didn't know Millie and Christian well before taking on this role, which is ironic because she married into a family where everyone went to high school with with a member of the Bar family. But one of the awesome things about serving on the council is the members of the community that you didn't know that you get to meet that become huge parts of your life, and so I've gotten to know Millie for the last 4 years and have come to deeply appreciate and depend on her views and thoughts on issues. And I have enjoyed the insights into her life and her family immensely, and the example she gives to women in particular of service. And this is also a shout out to Christian because and all of her kids and family, because I've watched them. These jobs take up time. They take up evening time. They take up time when we are doing a lot of other things. They're part-time roles, and I have just enjoyed being able to watch the balance and the teamwork. Team Bar is a real thing, including her parents that are here, and the way they have made this a team effort. I have absolutely enjoyed when the kids have come to meetings. I actually did dibs getting to hold baby Annie today, so if you could bring her back up. And I think that's been an important, thoughtful piece. There have been times was a time when Caroline was sitting behind us here during a meeting, and I remember looking at her and thinking, we're doing it for her generation, and having her actually here with us in the meeting was really important. And you brought that part of it, and it's just been something that I've really enjoyed, and I've really appreciated how you brought motherhood and family into the service with you as just a part that you embraced and we embraced and enjoyed with you, and that your family shared you with us. And then I really have enjoyed, we all have amazing spouses that allow us to do this, but Christian, I think you have been really amazing as well in watching you guys sometimes switch off for heading to games and picking up babies. I just you set a really high ideal and bar for teamwork, and an example to us, an example to the city. And the best part is you're not leaving Bountiful. We know where you live. And there are times and seasons, and they rotate. So we'll expect you to rotate back.
Thank you. Appreciate your commitment and dedication to Bountiful, and it's really true. You've had a juggling act many nights, and your kids have come and participated with their coloring and drawings and all good things, and we welcome that. And I think my fellow council members have said it well, that you've been compassionate and thoughtful and intentional, and so I appreciate that. Your whole family's been committed.
I didn't mean to ceremonially go last. I didn't know Millie very well during the campaign last time, 4 years ago, but Millie showed up to her first meeting after being sworn in with her packet well dog-eared with questions and insights, and she hit the ground running, and it was really impressive. Couple of things that I really admire about Millie. First of all, she's got a good business mind. Second of all, she's smarter than me in most areas. Third of all, Millie can get really ticked off, and she controls it most of the time, but the few times that she has allowed herself to speak angrily from the dais have been enjoyable to watch as well. But you look at her and you think mild-mannered and hidden talents, and then she came showing all of her stuff, and she's just amazing. So it's been a pleasure to sit next to her and be the recipient of notes and insights, and Millie's funnier than you expect that she might be, her wit, and also be able to pass questions to her and have her opine on those things as well. It's been an honor. We love you. And love having your family here. Christian, thank you. Thanks, Millie.
Yeah, one more round of applause for Millie Barr.
Plus, whoa, and she made it okay to cry in council meeting.
I know. I cry in council meetings only twice. It has truly been an honor. And Mayor, I remember where I was when you called. I was in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, naturally. And we were on a vacation in San Diego visiting family. And Mayor Harris has always been encouraging to me, and I've very much appreciated it, even though we haven't always agreed. And I've learned a lot from you and all of my colleagues. Richard, I'm going to miss occasionally showing up to meetings matching. I wish we would have taken more pictures. And passing Cecily notes and giggling. And then I've always loved looking down and seeing Kate and Jesse and the many phone calls, and I couldn't ask for a better group of people to disagree with and to work together with. We have, I wish more people could listen to the conversations we have and how we don't always agree, but how there's an underlying feeling of respect and admiration that not all cities have. And this group is truly a wonderful group of people. And the city staff has been wonderful. And all of my many questions, especially at the beginning, Gary was gracious enough to offer his Monday mornings before city council meetings, and I would come in with all my questions, and sometimes my kids would come to those meetings. And to Christian, who has been my biggest cheerleader and sign placer, I'm grateful for you, and to my children especially, and my parents. I think one of my biggest, one of the best moments of city council was when Christian and I, talking about dividing and conquering, we said to the children, okay, you can either, we had kind of a lapse between when a babysitter could pick someone up to take them to meetings, and it was during budget. So it was in April, and so the thick of baseball season. And we said to the children, okay, you can either go with Dad and sit with him at his work for 40 minutes, or you can come with Mom to her work and sit with her. And Tommy, Caroline, and our little Stacy, who was a baby at the time, Jake, you were at a game already. They chose to come to City Hall, and they chose to come with me, and they sat on the bench, and my colleagues were always so gracious and encouraging them to come. And this has truly been an honor, and I hope the people of Bountiful know how grateful I am to have been able to serve, and I'm very excited for Matt to join the council. I know he's going to be terrific, but anyway, it's been an honor, so thank you. That's all. Okay, next item on the agenda.
We will miss you. You've left your mark for sure on Bountiful, and we really appreciate your dedicated service. So, sorry, we got to do it one more time. One more hand. Yeah. Thank you so much. Councilwoman Segura Barr. We will now consider approval of the release of the public utility easements on Lot 13 of the Granada Hills number 4 and Lot 1 of the Granada Hills number 7 subdivisions. Mr. Lloyd Cheney.
Thanks, Mayor. Tonight I bring for you a proposal from the Hansons to have a public utility easement released in their backyard. They intend to do some re-landscaping and rebuild a retaining wall back there. There's currently no utilities in this easement, and this release is a little bit unique because a prior lot line adjustment by prior property owners creates a wedge-shaped piece that is really not included in the area that's requested to be released. I've included portions of the two plats that have the common boundary between lots 1 and 13 shown on page 40, so you can see the area where those easements originally existed and the easements in lots adjacent to lots 1 and 13. So in engineer speak, there's a lot of easement capacity right there in this area, and I don't see that releasing this portion of the easement in the Hanson's backyard is going to create any headaches or problems in the future, because there's plenty of access points to the rear yards of these adjacent lots in the surrounding area. All the utility companies have agreed in their various ways that it's appropriate to release these easements, and so I would recommend that the council approve this release.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now move to consider approval of the 2024 City Council meeting schedule. Mr. Gary Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the City Council, Utah State Open and Public Meetings Act requires that the City Council at least once a year give public notice of its annual meeting schedule. We've attached that, and it's included in your packet. It is recommended that we continue our current practice that the City Council shall meet the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month, with the exception in 2024 that there will be no meeting on Tuesday, December 24th, which is Christmas Eve. You can ignore that staff recommendation if you want, but my wife might have something to say about it. With that, we recommend approval of the annual City Council meeting schedule.
So moved.
Second.
Just a quick question. So as I was looking at the schedule, it looks like we may have like I think the National League has their conference in March, which may impact one of those meetings. So I'm sure that we'll, along the way, if there's a meeting that needs to be canceled or something, that may happen.
Yes, thank you. That's a good clarification. There's nothing that precludes the City Council from adding to or deleting from this list at any time. We're just required once a year to post our best guesstimate of our schedule.
Excellent. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you for that. Now we'll consider approval of the preliminary final architectural and site plan for new construction. Mr. Francisco Astorga.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a preliminary final architectural site plan that the Planning Commission reviewed a week ago, and they forwarded a positive recommendation, and they also approved a conditional use permit subject to this approval for the use of a general contractor office without any outside storage. I believe that's what the use is. The item was Amber Corbridge with the Planning Department wrote their report, and we did take a look at it. And it does indicate that it's a 5,000 square foot addition to the site at 299 North, 200 West, currently found in the general commercial zone. My department has taken a look at the proposal as the site on page 53. It's surrounded by some residential uses, including a church on the south side and professional office and residential uses along the east side and commercial uses towards the north. This is an administrative application where we do request that you review it and consider approving the preliminary and final site plan for Shoup Electric located at 299 North, 200 West. I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have for staff at this time.
Any questions? Mr. Shoup is here, and I'm excited that they're going to be here in Bountiful. So we're grateful that you're wanting to move ahead with this project. Any questions from council?
I'm happy to make a motion if there are no questions.
Great.
I propose that we approve the preliminary final architectural and site plan for the new construction at 299 North, 200 West.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Thank you. Okay, we'll now consider approval of the purchase of of some technology. Mr. Greg Martin, if you want to describe that for us.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. As you may know, the city has operated on a phone system for more than the last 10 years, a ShoreTel system. It was purchased by Mitel. Mitel has announced the end of life of that system. We also have a separate system called Oasis that does our voice recording for legal department, police department, and other departments. That system is past end of life and end of support. We have gone out to do some research on a replacement system. We have looked at both on-premise and cloud-based solutions. The solution we recommend is the Fortinet or FortiVoice solution. It would be purchased through Onward Technologies at a cost of $66,976.85. That will take several weeks to implement, but we'd like to move forward with that project. And we'd recommend that we request approval to do so. Be happy to answer any questions that the council members may have.
Mayor, I would move that we approve the purchase of the FortiVoice solution for $66,967.85 through Onward Tech.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you so much, Greg. We'll now turn the time over to Mr. Todd Christensen to consider approval of the extension of the Trails Project Management Services contract.
Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, it's been a big year for Trails this year where we've had a lot of work going, completed about 16 miles of trails, and had a few different contractors working, 5 crews, and it's been very valuable to have the services of Creative Trails helping us with this process, working as a project manager. They've been the ones who have regularly checked up on the trails, been the boots on the ground, if you will. And the contract has ended with Creative Trails, but there is an option for an extension. And so we've received a proposal to extend their services for 2024. And it's outlined in the staff report. The amount is estimated to be about $45,000. The rate is for the weekly services is up about 5%, but the overall cost is down because we expect that the duration will be a couple months shorter 2024 than it was this year, 2023, the duration of contractors doing trails work. So been very happy with the work that they've done, especially Bob Radke, the owner of Creative Trails, who is here regularly, at least once a week. And then he's got a couple helpers who have also been here checking up on the work, who are also, trails professionals. But definitely grateful to have Bob Radke's services and the extensive construction and maintenance experience that he has, that he's been able to help make sure that our trails are being built in a way that is what we want, that in line with the sustainability and our standards and the Forest Service standards. So there is one thing I wanted to mention about the impact where the staff report says will be paid using bond funds. There could also be grant funds that could be used to pay for his services. So with that, the recommendation from staff is that the City Council accept the proposal from Creative Trails to extend the Trails Management Project services for 2024, estimated at $45,000.
So moved.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Does this get all of the trails installed that was anticipated with the bond? The passage of our bond and the money that was allocated towards trails?
That's a good question. When staff met with City Council for the retreat last winter, we thought that the money would go a little farther. So I guess the short answer is no, but what we think that we have money for now is also no, because we have a few more trails that we think will be delayed until we get another NEPA approval from the Forest Service that we find are, that are important in our trails implementation plan to make some connections, important connections, but that we can't just do until we get another NEPA approval.
And so that'll be after this contract is up? And
Yes.
you guys and the staff will do that in-house?
We haven't decided yet, but it's roughly 4 miles, so it's a little more manageable perhaps for staff to be involved. So that's something that we could consider.
Okay.
Plus, there's now trails that would connect to where the new trail would be built, so you can get to it.
Yeah, that's what we're talking. Yeah, that's essentially.
Do you
I'm
mind
talking
just
about.
being more specific which trail you're referencing?
Sure. For the trails that we need another NEPA approval for,
Yeah.
the trails are, okay, are you familiar with the trails that
They-
were built? We called it Set C between, kind of above the temple, between Holbrook and Ward Canyons.
That's what I was hoping, yeah.
Trails there. Yeah, so those were all designed for bicycle, and they're not easy to get to. So our master plan shows a climbing trail that gets trail users, but especially bicyclists, right? Because hikers can pretty easily get up there, but it's the bicyclists who have a hard time. Anyway, the master plan shows a climbing trail and a downhill trail that go partially through land managed by the U.S. Forest Service. So there are those two trails, and then there is one other trail that, are you familiar with the Christmas tree area? So we've recently completed an extension of we're calling it the Bountiful Shoreline Trail, the BST. It may ultimately become the Bonneville Shoreline Trail, but we've recently completed an extension of that from Holbrook. Well, actually, this year it's connected Ward and Holbrook all the way over to the Christmas tree, the trail that goes up to the Christmas tree farm, and then continues to the south and then up to the east to make a way up and around the private property, where the county's plan for the BST shows it going through the private property, but they haven't been unable to get an easement or land acquisition to do so. So we've got a way on our master plan to go up and around that property. So the other piece that will provide a connection through Forest Service managed property is right there, kind of just to the south of the Christmas tree farm, and will connect into Mueller Park. So those are the trails specifically that I'm referring to.
And those will need the NEPA approval.
Yes, they
And-
weren't included. Our master plan hadn't been developed enough to even show these trails when we did the first NEPA application a few years ago.
So is there kind of a rough timeline for when the new NEPA application will be submitted regarding these trails that you just referenced?
We'll submit it shortly after we know that the Forest Service will consider it. So I'm hoping that that's this year, but I don't really know. We approached them this spring. They were unwilling to consider it because we have an active NEPA. They wanted to see how things go with our current NEPA, and primarily, and we still have about 7 miles of trail to finish in that area, as well as possibly, more discussion about what happens with the management of the picnic area.
Thank you. Any other questions?
If there aren't, I'll second the motion.
Sorry, I do have another question.
Okay.
Okay.
So kind of it's aspirational or best case scenario that we would get the application in this year, but they're wanting to see completion of these other trails that they've already approved, or like
That's-
significant completion? What are they actually kind of,
Well, this
you say
spring
they
we
wouldn't
hadn't.
consider it?
Yeah, this spring when we asked, we were just getting started. There was really no work that had even been done up there, as far as trail completion. It didn't. I don't think they are going to require that it be 100% complete, but they did indicate that they wanted to see how things went with the current NEPA application. So maybe they would consider. I think there's a July NEPA deadline that we could shoot for if they're willing to consider.
Thank you, Todd. We're lucky to have someone like you who is an expert now in dealing with NEPA things, and we really appreciate your work on these trails and everything else that you do. Any other questions for Todd?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you referenced kind of some of our budget constraints. There were, we anticipated to have more money. So, With this extension of the contract for Creative Trails, in the background, it's mentioned there are 9 miles of approved trails, right? We have 9 additional miles, is what it says.
Okay,
There's still
yeah.
9 miles of trail remaining in this area. And those are trails that have been approved already?
Yes, yes.
But
But they're
we
either.
will not have the funding to do all of those through our grants and our bond.
Oh, we'll have the funding to do all of those 9 miles, yes.
Those 9 miles,
Mhm.
they
All-
are,
All of the miles that we've already applied for, that are in our NEPA, with the exception of, I think there are 2 segments that the Forest Service, and they have problems, I guess. They're problematic. There's some issues that haven't totally been worked out. But all the ones that we find they find are viable, yes, we're still planning to move forward with those. And the 9 miles, just to be more clear, there are, I think, about 4 of those miles that haven't yet been started, and the remaining 5 are at some point, kind of in the construction process, where they've already started doing some of the construction work.
great, thank you.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Segura Bar and seconded by Councilman Bell. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great, thank you. And then you also have our next item, to consider approval of a contract with Hanson, Allen and Luce.
Yes. One of the things that we are required to do to operate a landfill is groundwater monitoring. And this is to make sure that the landfill isn't causing contamination of the surrounding groundwater. So this is done on a quarterly basis. We hire a consultant to go out and sample the groundwater, send the samples to the lab, and then coordinate with the lab. And then this consultant reports back to us all of the results. And we've been using Hanson, Allen and Luce to do this. 4 years ago, a contract was approved with Hanson, Allen and Luce, and the contract was a 4-year contract, again with an option to extend for 2 additional years. And during this time, the lab that was being utilized, and in fact, the city was utilizing this, well, our previous consultants were utilizing the same lab, but unfortunately the lab got bought out, and then the prices went up, so it's roughly about $1,000 a year, or per year, of additional lab costs that we've been incurring, so just, if you look at the cost increase from the previous contract to what the proposal is for 2024 and adjust by the $1,000 for the additional lab work, it's roughly 5.9% increase taken over 4 years. And then they programmed a 5.2% increase from 2024 to 2025. And the increases are reasonable. And Hanson, Allen Luce has been very fair, very good to work with. They're always dependable. They're consistent. So the staff recommendation is for the city council to extend the contract with Hanson, Allen and Luce to perform groundwater monitoring at the Bountiful Sanitary Landfill for 2024 and 2025 in the amount of $43,400.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For your help. The next item is to consider approval of Resolution 2023-15, allowing the mayor and city council members to participate in city council meetings electronically when needed. Mr. Gary Hill.
Thank you, Mayor, and members of the City Council. This is an authorization required by state code to allow council members to participate remotely in a city council meeting. Unless you pass a resolution or ordinance allowing that, then you must participate in person. This this resolution, not ordinance, would allow you to participate electronically in any council meeting for the next calendar year. Happy to answer any questions.
Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-15. 2025-15.
I'll second that, but I do have a question.
Okay?
Gary, how do you feel like it has gone this year?
Fine.
Mayor, how do you feel like it has gone this year?
Fine.
Councilmember Segura Bar, how do you feel like it's gone this year?
Fine, but that doesn't mean I'm going to change my principles. Just
Oh, heavens,
because
no.
I feel a certain way doesn't mean it's right.
Thank you. So my second stance.
So, thank you. I just want to say that we all agree with the principle that in-person meetings are best.
Amen.
And I'm grateful that the council members take their job so seriously that they are here and utilize this option very rarely. So that makes it so that I think it works. But
Agreed.
anyway, thank you so much. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll consider a motion to adjourn to a closed session.
Mayor, I'd make a motion to adjourn to a closed session to discuss the acquisition or the sale of real property pending litigation, and/or to discuss the character and/or competency of an individual, and to not return when we adjourn from that closed meeting.
Is there a
Second.
It's been seconded by Councilwoman Segura Bar. And,
One clarification, if I could.
yes,
When you say not return, we will return to open session, but in the study room rather than in here. I just want to make sure that we're not misunderstood that we're going to violate state open and public meeting statutes.
thanks for that clarification. And now we'll take
Sorry.
a roll call vote on that motion, and we'll start with Councilwoman Segura Bar.
Yes. Oh, yes or aye? Yes.
Councilman Higginson.
Yes.
Councilwoman Price Hewish. Councilman Bell.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bradshaw.
Aye.
Oh, a split council.
We are adjourned to a closed session. Thank you.